what's your expectation to this budget?
We do expect more popular spending.
Let's talk about Vikas Bharat.
Could potentially increase the spending by close to 150%. For the urban cities, we might see spending on enhancing metro lines, railway lines.
What does fiscal consolidation mean?
Come up with policies which will basically balance the fiscal deficit and debt.
What we can expect from this budget?
To set the stage, for the upcoming years.
Welcome to MNCL podcast on Union Budget. Today we have finance expert and analyst Rahul Dani. Welcome Rahul.
Thanks Arpit, thanks for having me.
So Rahul, Union Budget is always a big deal. Can you just give us your views on interim budget this year?
So the interim budget did peg the fiscal deficit at 5.1% of GDP. Mm-hmm. So thereby balancing the revenue and spending. There was a lot of emphasis on spending on Ayushman Bharat, which is for healthcare. Then, of course, there's something for the farmers and something for affordable housing. So the government made sure that, they have taken care of a lot of vulnerable groups. So that's what the interim budget had, kind of laid down a very good foundation for rural consumption and increasing capital expenditure. Capital expenditure was up 11.1% to 11.1 lakh crores. So a lot of good things came off the interim budget, Arpit.
So Rahul, as we approach full budget post-election, so what's your views and what's your expectation to this budget?
So Arpit, it's a fair question. This budget is very important as it's the first budget after the election. So, we do expect more popular spending. What we mean by popular spending is more cash transfers, increasing rural spends. Also they would look for more fiscal consolidation. Also help the spending in the lower income group above of less than 15 lakh. Reducing the income tax slab maybe on people who earning less than 15 lakh. So that could be something which, the government might look at.
So you mentioned populist spending. So what measures do we see in this budget then?
So the whole idea is for the government to increase spending, help the rural people spend more money, help the poor people to start spending more money. That is what the whole idea of popular spending is.
So let's talk about Vikas Bharat. I keep on hearing a lot of things about Vikas Bharat. So, what major infrastructure and development initiatives can we see in this budget?
So, Arpit, that's a very important question, and what we expect is that we expect the scheme to be replaced by the Bharatmala project, which could potentially increase the spending by close to 150%. We could, of course, see more focus towards dedicated freight corridor. Increased spending on railways. For the urban cities, we might see spending on enhancing metro lines, railway lines, smart cities. So that is what we could see in this budget as well.
That sounds promising. So how do you expect boosting rural economy? What are the initiatives and expectation here?
So the government would look at spending heavily on rural by increasing the Awas Yojana scheme, Kisan Yojana scheme, improving spend on advanced technology for farming, in irrigation, of course, bringing rural connectivity by spending on roads. Also, they would look at providing clean water, that means enhanced spending on the Jal Jeevan mission. So these are a couple of steps I think the government might look at to boost rural economy.
Basically, a lot of time we hear about fiscal consolidation. So can you explain what does fiscal consolidation means and what government plans to balance out with populistic spending?
What the government is trying to do, come up with policies which will basically balance the fiscal deficit and debt, and by also maintaining a populistic spending in the medium term. So that means improving revenue generation, keeping control on cash on expenditure. And by doing this, they also want to make sure that they kind of improve cash transfers and rural spending.
So finally, Rahul, as an investor, as an individual, what we can expect from this budget?
So Arpit, we expect this budget to be very transformative to set the stage, for the upcoming years. We expect good spending on infra, social welfare and rural economy. Additionally, we do not expect anything on the capital gain. We expect a status quo. Markets' reaction could be decisive after the budget as we got corporate supporting the earnings after that event.
So thank you, Rahul, very much for sharing your insights.
Thanks for having me.
I think that this budget holds a lot of promises and people are hoping the best. That's the wrap up of our special podcast with Rahul Dani. Thank you for tuning in.